Previously, we detailed victim Brian Wells's horrific public demise after being forced to rob a bank with a ticking bomb locked around his neck. For years, his calculating killers escaped justice. But now, the net is closing in. This is part 2 in our true crime documentary investigating the 2003 Collar Bomb Heist, where pizza delivery driver Brian Wells was killed by a device forcibly locked to his neck. After examining the sinister crime that stunned the nation, today we follow the FBI's twisting trail to uncover the cynical masterminds behind it. We track down those responsible for this unconventional crime that stumped authorities for years. When Brian Wells died after the bomb exploded, police were completely confused by this very bizarre bank robbery gone so horribly wrong. How had this average pizza delivery man gotten a bomb forcibly locked around his neck by strangers and been made to steal money from a bank against his will? It made no sense whatsoever. The FBI offered a sizable $50,000 reward for any information that could identify who built the evil collar bomb device and who was truly behind Wells's traumatic public death that day. In the coming months, the shocking pizza bomber case was heavily reported in news outlets across America. The public was both morbidly fascinated yet horrified by the details surrounding what had happened to Wells and the many puzzling unanswered questions in the investigation. But for over 4 long, fruitless years, the police were unable to uncover any concrete suspects or leads in the collar bomb plot. With Wells now dead, and very few tangible clues or witnesses, it, unfortunately, was starting to look like the deranged criminals responsible for this bizarre crime might never be identified or brought to justice at all. A major break in the case finally came in 2007, when a woman named Marjorie Diehl-Armstrong, age 58, was overheard bragging loudly in prison about having special insider knowledge related to the collar bomb plot. In her younger years, Diehl-Armstrong had been quite bright. She was the valedictorian of her graduating high school class. She had also owned and operated her own successful business in the town of Erie for some time. However, she had a lengthy history of serious mental illness and violence. Most disturbingly, Diehl-Armstrong had shot 2 of her former boyfriends to death years prior, including James Roden just 1 month before Wells was killed. She had murdered them in cold blood specifically to prevent them from going to the police and exposing her central part in orchestrating the bizarre collar bomb crime. In 2007, desperate for a transfer to a lower security prison, Diehl-Armstrong attempted to leverage her inside information to make a deal, telling the FBI she would reveal everything she knew about Wells's collar bomb death if they moved her to an easier facility. The plan backfired. She ended up unwittingly exposing herself as the criminal mastermind behind the entire plot all along. Diehl-Armstrong openly admitted that she had carefully designed and planned the bank robbery heist in order to obtain quick cash to pay a hitman, Kenneth Barnes, to murder her father. However, she had been incorrectly convinced she stood to inherit a great deal of money after her father died. Needing fast money to fund the hit job on her father, Diehl-Armstrong explicitly planned and orchestrated the elaborate bank robbery, using Wells as an unknowing pawn she could manipulate for her own greedy gain. She provided the bomb materials and kitchen timers to Barnes and another conspirator, William Rothstein, who together constructed the collar bomb device. On the day of the crime, Barnes assisted Diehl-Armstrong in forcibly locking the live bomb to Wells's neck, while Diehl-Armstrong watched from a distance and later even triggered the explosion remotely when he tried to flee the scene. Both Diehl-Armstrong and Barnes were indicted in 2007 on charges of bank robbery, criminal conspiracy, and multiple weapons violations. Brian Wells was now officially classified as a tragic victim who lost his life carrying out the very same forced bank robbery plot that Diehl-Armstrong had ensnared him in against his will. In 2008, Barnes pled guilty to his role in the collar bomb plot, openly admitting that Wells was initially made aware of the planned bank heist, but only became hesitant and resistant upon being shown the live explosive device right before it was fastened around his neck. Diehl-Armstrong initially attempted to claim mental illness to avoid standing trial, but by 2011 was ultimately deemed mentally fit and competent by a series of psychological evaluations. That November, a jury decisively found her guilty on all charges, clearly seeing through her lies and attempts at manipulation. She received a well-deserved life imprisonment sentence, narrowly escaping the death penalty, yet Diehl-Armstrong continued loudly insisting on her complete innocence even after her conviction, stubbornly accusing Barnes and the now-deceased Rothstein of being the true sole criminal masterminds behind the shockingly evil collar bomb plot. She ultimately died behind bars in 2017, taking any remaining secrets or motives to her grave. The horrific details of the Wells collar bomb case continue to captivate and disturb Americans today. Wells can be seen pleading desperately for help on video footage minutes before the bomb forcibly locked to his neck exploded, violently ending his life at the mercy of a mentally unstable criminal genius who had callously manipulated him as an expendable pawn. Although the official investigation concluded with Diehl-Armstrong's conviction, nagging questions still remain surrounding how much Brian Wells truly knew of the deadly plot ahead of time, as well as whether the sociopathic Diehl-Armstrong truly acted completely alone in designing this diabolical crime that shocked the nation. That concludes our part 2. Due to Diehl-Armstrong's compulsive deception and refusal to cooperate, it's possible we may never fully untangle all of the sinister motivations and machinations that led to such a devastating tragedy.